Grandma, why do you always smell kind of strange? Mom says it's just your scent. Those words hit 68-year-old Evelyn Johnson like a ton of bricks. She had always taken pride in maintaining her hygiene and living a clean life, but hearing her beloved granddaughter say that shattered her world. It felt like everything she had known and worked for was suddenly questioned. What hurt even more was that her granddaughter, once so affectionate, no longer sat on her lap. Even when Evelyn asked for a hug, the girl wrinkled her nose in discomfort. That evening, as Evelyn lay in bed, she pulled the blanket over her head and cried silently for hours, feeling completely alone and devastated. Hello, I'm Dr. Richard Thompson, a 77-year-old specialist in senior care. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege of working with over 10,000 elderly individuals. Today, I want to share something that might surprise you, something that people often avoid saying to your face. Have you ever been in a situation where you sit down on a bus and the seat next to you stays empty? Maybe your grandchild doesn't want to sit there. Or perhaps your daughter-in-law keeps opening the window, trying to air things out. The truth is, it's the smell of aging. Do I have it? Yes, I do. After years of working with seniors, I've come to a painful realization. 99% of people over the age of 60 are unaware of a distinct smell that comes with aging, but it's something that those around them can clearly sense. Unfortunately, most families are too polite to mention it, so seniors never find out. Let me share the story of Harold Simmons, a man who always kept himself impeccably clean. He took a shower every day and made sure his home was spotless. But one day, when his son brought friends over, Harold overheard one of them whisper, "Man, that old guy's smell is strong." The comment struck Harold hard. From that point on, whenever his grandchildren came to visit, he stayed mostly in his room, too embarrassed to be around them. If you're still watching, you might be wondering if this applies to you too, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does. But don't let that worry you. Keep watching this video, and I'll show you a simple and effective solution. The reality is that as we age, our bodies naturally undergo changes, and with those changes comes a shift in the way we smell. It's not your fault, it's simply a part of getting older. But here's the good news. This isn't something you have to just accept forever. Stick with me until the end of this video, and I'll help you prevent people from whispering behind your back. Does this old man or woman smell too much? Your grandchildren won't shy away from sitting with you because of a smell they find unpleasant. Kids tend to be brutally honest, after all. I remember a conversation with Dorothy Walker, a 65-year-old woman, who came to me saying, "Dr. Thompson, my grandchild refuses to sit on my lap anymore. What am I doing wrong?" Her eyes filled with tears as she spoke. Today, after 50 years of research and treating thousands of patients, I'm going to reveal a simple yet powerful secret that I've uncovered, a secret that no one has probably told you before. Remarkably, just by spending 3 minutes washing 2 specific areas of your body, you can eliminate up to 90% of that unpleasant odor. This method has worked wonders for over 1,000 of my patients, and I've seen their relationships with their families improve significantly as a result. You won't want to miss out on this valuable information. But before we continue, please make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you can help others in need of this advice. Turn on notifications too, and you'll receive more tips that can greatly improve your quality of life. Let's get right to it. Just last week, I met an elderly gentleman named Albert Parker. Albert is 88 years old, and as we chatted, he leaned in and said, "Doc, I've been using the most expensive cologne I can find, but it doesn't make a difference. My son still refuses to spend much time in my room, and every time he visits, he immediately throws the window wide open. Do you have any idea how much that hurts me?" The sadness in his voice was unmistakable. I had to be honest with him. "Albert," I said gently, "the truth is, cologne won't solve the problem. In fact, it can make things worse. You see, layering a strong fragrance over an existing odor doesn't get rid of the smell. It just creates a mix of scents that can be even more unpleasant. It's like trying to cover up the smell of a dirty bathroom with air freshener. It might mask it for a minute, but unless you deal with the root of the issue, the smell will linger." Unfortunately, many seniors fall into this same trap. They notice something smells off and assume that using cologne, perfume, or deodorant will fix it. But it doesn't. What happens instead is that the underlying odor combines with the scent of the fragrance, creating a stronger, more noticeable smell. Family members might respond by opening windows more often, and that leaves seniors feeling hurt, isolated, and confused. To break that painful cycle, it's important to understand where the odor actually comes from. Do you know why this specific old age smell develops in the first place? It's not just about bathing less or getting older in general. There's a clear scientific explanation behind it. And once you understand what's really happening in your body, you can take steps to fix it. Let me explain the science behind it. As we age, our bodies go through several changes, and 3 of them play a big role in how we smell. One of the key changes happens with something we often take for granted: sweat. When you're young, your body produces about a quart of sweat every day. But after the age of 60, that amount drops to less than half. You might be thinking, wait, if I'm sweating less, shouldn't that mean I smell better? It sounds logical, but in reality, the opposite is true. Sweat is actually a natural cleanser for your skin. It helps flush out toxins, oils, and waste products from your body. When you sweat less, those toxins stay on your skin, creating the perfect environment for bacteria to thrive. And it's the bacteria that produce that distinctive odor. I remember one of my patients, a woman named Margaret Turner. She's 71, and one day she asked me, "Why do I smell more now, even though I barely sweat anymore?" That's exactly the issue. The lack of sweat leads to more buildup on the skin, which feeds bacteria and causes the smell. Another patient, Robert Evans, who's 73, told me, "Back in my younger days, I used to sweat so much I was constantly worried about it. Now that I don't sweat as much, I thought that was a good thing, but it turns out it's not." He was right to be concerned. The body uses sweat to remove waste, and when that process slows down, it can lead to a buildup of odors that weren't an issue before. Understanding how aging affects your body is the first step to tackling the problem, and the good news is there are ways to address it effectively. Once you know the cause, you can start making small changes that will help you smell fresh, feel confident, and reconnect with your loved ones without feeling self-conscious. It's all about getting to the root of the issue instead of just covering it up. As we grow older, something surprising happens to our skin, and it plays a big role in why older people sometimes develop a distinct smell. Let's talk about it. Our skin naturally produces an oily substance called sebum. When we're young, the sebum we produce has a certain chemical makeup. But as we age, that makeup changes. Starting around the age of 50, the composition of sebum shifts, and it begins to include a compound called non-enal. This compound, which is essentially an oxidized fatty acid, is the main reason behind what many people recognize as the old person smell. After spending over 30 years researching this issue, I discovered that non-enal production increases as we get older, peaking around the age of 70. What makes this especially interesting is that non-enal is practically absent in younger people, which is why they don't have that same distinct scent. But as non-enal levels rise with age, the smell becomes more noticeable to others, even if we aren't aware of it ourselves. That's not the only change that happens as we age. Another major factor in how our bodies smell comes from changes in our mouth. After the age of 60, the body starts producing much less saliva, sometimes as much as 50% less. Saliva is crucial because it helps clear away bacteria in the mouth and keeps the acidity levels balanced. When saliva production drops, the mouth becomes dry and bacteria begin to multiply quickly. This can lead to bad breath, which can make people feel self-conscious, especially when they're around their family. I remember talking to one of my patients, a woman named Susan Bennett. Susan is 69, and she told me, "I've noticed my mouth feels dry all the time, and I can smell my own breath when I talk. It makes me shy around my grandkids because I don't want them to notice, so I find myself stepping back when I speak to them." Susan's experience is common. Many older adults notice changes in how they smell, even though they shower regularly. Use cologne and rinse with mouthwash. Despite their efforts, the smell seems to linger, and that's because they're missing the root causes I just described. Now, here's where things get really important. There is a solution to this problem, but it's not what most people think. Covering up the smell with perfume or air fresheners won't do the trick, and it could actually make things worse. What you need is to focus on the areas of your body that are causing the smell in the first place. Before we get to the solution, let me say how grateful I am that you're still reading and taking this information in. If you find these insights helpful, drop a comment to let me know. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I recommend you do so. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. I'm dedicated to bringing you practical, life-changing advice to help you live your best life. Now let's move on and talk about what you can do to get rid of that old age smell for good. If you skip this part, you might keep wasting time and money on fixes that don't work. But if you stick with me, you'll learn a simple method that can make a noticeable difference, and fast. In fact, many of my patients have reported that within just a week of following my advice, they started to smell fresher. And after a month, their relationships with their families began to improve. Let me share the story of James Parker, one of my longtime patients. James is 75, and when he first came to my clinic, he looked defeated. "Dr. Richards," he said, "I don't know what to do. My grandkids don't even want to come into my room anymore. My son is always opening the windows and complaining about the smell. It's humiliating." James felt like he was losing his connection with his family, and it broke his heart. But after following my advice for just a few months, James came back to see me. And this time, he was beaming. "Doc," he said with a huge smile, "it's like magic. My grandson actually sat on my lap the other day for the first time in ages. I feel like I've got my family back. You can have that same experience. You don't have to feel embarrassed, isolated, or ashamed anymore. With just a few simple steps, you can feel fresh, confident, and connected to the people you love. Let's take that first step together." What I'm about to share with you doesn't require expensive products from the pharmacy or prescriptions from the hospital. You don't need to go out and buy fancy sprays, creams, or pills. You can actually start making a difference right at home, starting today. This method is simple, effective, and backed by more than 50 years of medical research. It's helped 97% of my patients see real noticeable results. Let me walk you through the first and perhaps the easiest step, drinking enough water. You might be wondering, water? What's that supposed to do? Well, let me explain. Water acts like your body's natural sweeper. It helps flush out toxins and waste by pushing them through your system and out of your body in your urine. When you stay well hydrated, it reduces the buildup of harmful substances that can contribute to that old age smell. One small habit can make a big difference, and that habit is drinking a glass of warm water every morning. Take Margaret Collins, for example. Margaret is 72, and when she first heard this advice, she wasn't sure it would work. She told me, "At first, drinking warm water in the morning felt strange. It wasn't what I was used to, and I didn't like the taste, but after about a month, it became a habit, and now I actually miss it. If I forget to drink my morning glass, I've noticed my skin looks healthier, and even my granddaughter told me I smell nice again." Margaret's experience shows how something as simple as water can make a big difference over time. If you want to build this habit, aim for about 6 glasses of water a day. You might think that's a lot, but it's easier than it sounds when you break it down and create a schedule. Let me share a little trick that's helped many of my patients stick to it. Start with 1 glass of warm water right when you wake up in the morning. Then have 1 more before lunch, 1 after lunch, 1 around 3 p.m., another before dinner, and finally 1 glass before bed. By spacing it out this way, you won't feel overwhelmed and it'll quickly become part of your daily routine. It's important to note that coffee or tea doesn't count toward your daily water intake. In fact, coffee can actually dehydrate you even more, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do here. If you're a coffee drinker, I recommend adding an extra glass of water for every cup of coffee you have, just to stay balanced. By following this simple tip, you're already taking the first step toward improving your body's natural processes and reducing unwanted smells. It's a small change, but over time, it can make a huge difference in how you feel and how your loved ones interact with you. And this is just the beginning. There's more to come, and together, we're going to transform your daily habits for the better. Let's talk about another important step that can make a big difference in keeping your body fresh and reducing that unwanted smell. Getting some light exercise and maintaining proper hygiene. Don't worry, I'm not suggesting anything extreme. This isn't about hitting the gym or doing tough workouts. Even a small effort can lead to big improvements. One of the simplest things you can do is take a light walk in the sun every day. Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm getting older, and exercise isn't easy for me anymore. That's completely understandable, and I'm not here to push you into anything strenuous. All I'm suggesting is a gentle stroll in the sunlight for about 20 minutes. That's all it takes. You don't have to break a sweat or push yourself too hard. Just walk at your own pace and enjoy the fresh air. Why is this important? Sunlight has natural antibacterial properties, and it can help kill off some of the bad bacteria that tend to build up on the skin. At the same time, even a gentle walk can get your blood flowing and help you sweat just enough to release toxins from your body. Sweating is one of the ways your body naturally cleanses itself, and it plays a key role in keeping your skin healthy and reducing odor. To protect your skin from harsh sun exposure, it's best to walk during the cooler parts of the day, like early in the morning before 10 a.m. or later in the afternoon after 4 p.m. One of my patients, Fred Johnson, was initially skeptical about this advice. Fred is 74, and when I suggested light walking, he said, "Doc, my legs hurt. I don't think I can do it." So I told him to start small. "Try walking for just 10 minutes a day," I said. And that's exactly what he did. At first it wasn't easy. He felt out of breath and his legs were sore. But after a few weeks, he started to notice a difference. Now, Fred can manage 20 minutes without a problem, and he told me, "It's not fast, but I'm doing it. I just take it slow, and it's really helped. I feel better, and I smell fresher too." Now, let's move on to another important habit: daily showers. Some people tell me, "Doc, taking a shower every day is tough, especially in the winter when it's cold." I understand that it's not always easy, but bathing is crucial when it comes to keeping your skin clean and reducing odor. When you shower, you wash away the sweat, oils, and bacteria that can build up on your skin throughout the day. Here's one important tip to remember: avoid using very hot water when you shower. Scalding hot water might feel good in the moment, especially on a chilly day, but it can actually harm your skin by stripping away its natural protective oils. This can lead to dryness and make the odor worse. Instead, use warm water somewhere between 100 and 104 degrees Fahrenheit, which is gentle on the skin and still effective at washing away dirt and bacteria. Once a week, if you can, try soaking in a warm bath for about 20 minutes. This can help open up your pores and allow deep-seated dirt to escape. Many of my patients have told me that after taking a warm bath, their skin feels softer and they notice a significant drop in body odor. Now, here's a little-known secret that makes a huge difference. When you shower, focus on scrubbing 3 key areas. Believe it or not, 90% of that old age smell comes from these spots, and most people tend to miss them or skim over them. Let's break it down. The first area to pay close attention to is your skin folds. This includes places like your neck, under your arms, under your breasts, around your navel, your groin area, and even behind your knees and elbows. These folds and creases tend to trap sweat and bacteria, which is why they can be a major source of odor. Many people, especially older adults, don't realize how important it is to scrub these areas thoroughly. And don't forget about the back of your neck and behind your ears. Those spots are often overlooked, but can contribute a lot to body odor. I remember Susan Brooks, one of my patients, telling me, "Dr. Wilson, I've been showering every day for years, but I never really thought about scrubbing my armpits and chest as thoroughly as you suggested. Once I started focusing on those areas, the smell went way down, and the best part, my grandkids are happy to hug me again." Susan's story shows just how powerful this simple habit can be. The second area to focus on is any hairy spots on your body, like your scalp, armpits, and chest. Hair tends to trap sweat and oils, which can lead to a buildup of odor if it's not properly cleaned. Make sure to massage your scalp well when you shampoo, and take the time to wash your underarms and chest thoroughly. Tom Harris, another patient of mine, shared a similar experience. He's 62, and he told me, "I used to just lather up my hair quickly and rinse it out. But when you told me to really massage my scalp while washing, I gave it a try, and wow, what a difference. My head doesn't stink anymore, and my grandkid even pats my head now." If you're a man, don't forget to pay extra attention to your chest and belly hair. Use soap or body wash, lather up well, rinse thoroughly, and make sure to dry off completely afterward. This will help keep your skin and hair clean and fresh. By making these simple changes, taking a daily shower, focusing on key areas, and getting a bit of light exercise, you'll start to feel fresher, more confident, and more connected to the people around you. Small steps can lead to big results, and you'll be amazed at how much better you feel once you make these habits part of your daily routine. Another important thing to pay attention to when it comes to reducing body odor is managing sweaty areas of the body. These spots tend to have a lot of sweat glands, which makes them prone to trapping moisture and developing a smell. Areas like your feet, the space between your toes, and your palms are particularly prone to this. Your feet, in particular, can be a problem if they're cooped up in shoes all day. This creates the perfect environment for bacteria to thrive, and that's when the unpleasant smell can spread and even seep into your clothes. I once had a patient named John Parker, who was 68 years old. John told me, "Doc, my feet smelled so bad that my family didn't even want to come into my room." He felt embarrassed and frustrated because he didn't know what to do about it. I advised him to start scrubbing his feet thoroughly, especially between his toes, every time he showered. After washing, I told him to dry them completely before putting on socks. He also switched to wearing cotton socks and made sure to change them every day. John even began rotating his shoes so they could dry out properly between uses. A few weeks later, John came back to me with a big smile on his face. "The smell's gone, Doc, and my daughter-in-law doesn't grimace when she walks into my room anymore," he said, relieved. Another area that people often overlook is their back. It might be tricky to reach, but it's essential to clean it properly because sweat can soak into your clothes, leading to odor that lingers throughout the day. To make it easier, you can use a long-handled brush or a washcloth to scrub your back during your shower. You'll be surprised how much fresher you feel once you make this a habit. When you're washing these areas, remember to use warm water, not hot water. Hot water might feel nice, but it can strip away the natural protective oils from your skin, which can actually make odor worse in the long run. Warm water is gentler and still effective at cleaning your skin. Also, use a mild soap instead of strong, heavily scented products. Sometimes people think that strong fragrances will mask the smell, but they often end up making things worse by irritating the skin. One of my patients, Mary Johnson, who is 71, was skeptical when I first told her about these simple steps. "I wasn't sure such basic things could actually make a difference," she admitted. But she decided to give it a try. After just a few weeks, she noticed a big change. "Now, my grandkid happily sits on my lap to watch TV, and it feels so nice to be close to him again," she said. After your shower, it's also important to moisturize your skin. Dry skin can flake and develop an unpleasant smell, especially during the winter months. Once a week, you might also consider soaking in a warm bath for about 20 minutes. This helps open up your pores and allows any deep-seated dirt and toxins to escape. After drying off, apply a good moisturizer to keep your skin soft and healthy. Taking these steps can really make a difference. If you don't start now, you might continue to feel self-conscious about how you smell, and that could lead to frustration, sadness, and even distancing yourself from loved ones. But by making these small changes, you can regain your confidence and enjoy closer, happier relationships with the people around you. In just a week, you might start to notice how your family's attitude toward you shifts, and that's a wonderful feeling. Now that we've talked about hygiene, let's move on to something else that can impact body odor: your diet and lifestyle. Believe it or not, what you eat plays a big role in how your body smells. Many of my patients ask me, "Doctor Wilson, Is there anything else I can do besides washing to reduce the smell? The answer is yes. Your food choices can have a significant impact. One of my patients, Betty Carter, who's 60, asked me, "I've eaten garlic my whole life. Is that what's making me smell?" It's true that certain foods, like garlic and spices, can cause a temporary scent in your body. But in the long term, these foods actually have antioxidants that can help reduce that old age smell by flushing toxins out of your body. So, while it might seem counterintuitive, eating a healthy diet that includes flavorful foods can actually benefit you in the long run. If you're still with me and finding this information helpful, it's great to stay engaged and keep learning. It's all about making small, simple changes that can improve your quality of life and strengthen your connections with the people you care about. The first important tip to reduce body odor naturally is to eat more foods rich in antioxidants. Now, that might sound like a fancy word, but it's actually quite simple. Antioxidants are like little helpers inside your body that fight the aging process, which is one of the main reasons people develop a distinct smell as they get older. By including antioxidant-rich foods in your diet, you can slow down that aging process and reduce body odor at the same time. Foods like tomatoes, apples, strawberries, buckwheat, and brown rice are especially good because they work from the inside out to cut down on odor. Red and purple fruits and vegetables, in particular, are packed with antioxidants and are great for keeping your body fresh. One of my patients, Paul Anderson, who is 79, tried this and was amazed by the results. "The doctor told me to start eating one apple and one tomato every day," he said. "At first, I didn't think it would make any difference, but after 2 months, my granddaughter hugged me and said, 'Grandpa, you don't smell anymore.' It felt like magic." Even garlic, which some people think smells bad, can actually help reduce body odor when digested. This is because garlic contains a compound called allicin that fights bacteria and helps flush out toxins. Just 1 or 2 cloves of garlic a day can boost your health and reduce odor in the long run. Another great way to flush toxins out of your body is by eating watery fruits and vegetables. Foods like watermelon, pears, cucumbers, and tomatoes naturally help cleanse your system by encouraging your body to release waste through urine. One of my patients, Nancy Johnson, who is 68, followed this advice. "I started eating half a cucumber and a tomato every day because I wanted to stay healthy," she told me. After 3 months, people around me started saying that I smelled fresher, and I didn't even realize it was because of those simple foods. If you find it hard to eat a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, you can blend them into a smoothie and drink it every day. It's a simple, delicious way to cut down on body odor. Keeping your mouth clean is just as important when it comes to managing odor. Brushing your teeth 3 times a day is a good start, but it's not enough by itself. You also need to scrape your tongue because that's where a lot of bacteria hide, and those bacteria are one of the main causes of bad breath. A toothbrush won't be able to clean your tongue properly, so it's a good idea to get a tongue scraper from your local drugstore. It's a cheap and effective tool that can make a big difference. One of my patients, Linda Parker, who is 73, told me, "At first, I didn't like scraping my tongue because it made me gag, but after a few days, I got used to it. Now I can't skip it because my breath feels so much fresher." Another tip is to chew sugar-free gum after meals. This helps boost saliva production, which naturally cleans your mouth and reduces odor. Gum with xylitol is especially good because it also helps prevent cavities. It's also a good idea to cut back on coffee and alcohol if you want to smell fresher. Coffee, tea, and alcohol can dehydrate your body, and that can make body odor worse. Alcohol, in particular, breaks down in your liver and releases a compound called acetaldehyde, which leaves your body through sweat and gives off a distinct smell. One of my patients, George Carter, who is 71, told me, "I used to drink a bottle of whiskey every day, and I didn't realize that was making me smell. When I cut back and started drinking barley tea instead, my body odor went down after just a month." If you love coffee, try limiting yourself to 1 or 2 cups a day and drink more water or herbal tea to stay hydrated. And if you drink alcohol, consider cutting back or quitting altogether. Finally, getting enough fiber in your diet can make a big difference when it comes to reducing body odor. That's because constipation can lead to toxins building up in your body, and those toxins can be released through your skin, causing odor. Eating fiber-rich foods like brown rice, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables can help prevent constipation and keep your gut healthy. One of my patients, Margaret Evans, who is 77, struggled with constipation for most of her life. "I started eating brown rice and vegetable soup for breakfast, and it made a huge difference," she said. "Not only did my digestion improve, but my body odor went down, too." The best part about these tips is that they don't just help with body odor, they're also great for your overall health. By making small changes to your diet and hygiene routine, you can feel fresher, more confident, and more energized. And you don't need to spend a lot of money on fancy products to see results. Just start with these simple steps today, and you'll be surprised at how quickly things can improve. Don't wait, take action now, and you'll be on your way to a healthier, happier, and fresher future. Taking care of your clothes, bedding, and living space is one of the most important steps when it comes to cutting down on body odor, especially as you get older. You might take a refreshing shower and scrub thoroughly, but if you're putting on clothes or sleeping on bedding that hasn't been cleaned recently, the smell can come right back. This is because sweat, oil from your skin, called sebum, and bacteria cling to fabric, especially during hot summer days, and that buildup can cause odor. That's why it's essential to stay on top of your laundry and household routine. One simple habit that makes a big difference is changing your clothes and underwear regularly. Ideally, you should wear your clothes just once before tossing them in the wash, especially items like shirts and underwear that absorb the most sweat. Robert Harris, who's 72, learned this the hard way. "I used to save on laundry and wear the same clothes for 3 or 4 days," he admitted. "Then my doctor told me to swap clothes daily. At first it felt like extra work, but after sticking with it, the smell went down a lot." When it comes to underwear, cotton is your best bet. Unlike synthetic fabrics, which can trap sweat and make odor worse, cotton lets your skin breathe and absorbs moisture more effectively. Washing your clothes properly is just as important as changing them frequently. If possible, dry your clothes in the sun because sunlight is a natural bacteria killer. On rainy days, make sure your clothes are completely dry before wearing them again. Damp clothes can trap odors and make things worse. And don't forget your bedding, since you spend about 8 hours a night in bed. Your sheets and pillowcases also absorb sweat, oil, and skin flakes, which can feed bacteria and cause smells. It's best to wash your bedding weekly and let it dry in the sun if you can. Pillowcases, which come into contact with your head and hair, should be changed even more often. Linda Parker, 75, shared her experience. I used to think washing my sheets once a month was fine, she said, but my doctor suggested doing it weekly. And even though it felt like a hassle at first, I got used to it. Now my room smells fresh, and I don't even notice the extra effort anymore. It's also a good idea to replace old pillows and blankets every couple of years. Over time, they can build up bacteria and dust mites, which contribute to odors. Taking care of your shoes and socks is another important step. Feet naturally sweat a lot, and if that moisture gets trapped inside your shoes, it can create a lasting odor. To avoid this, change your socks daily and choose cotton socks if possible, because they're better at absorbing moisture. Rotating your shoes is another great tip. Instead of wearing the same pair every day, try alternating between 2 or 3 pairs, which gives each pair time to dry out between uses. You can also sprinkle a little baking soda inside your shoes to absorb any leftover moisture and odor. Paul King, who's 69, noticed a big improvement when he made these changes. I used to wear the same pair of shoes all the time, he said. Now I switch between pairs and change my socks every day. My feet don't smell as bad, and my grandkid doesn't wrinkle his nose when he visits me anymore. Finally, don't forget to air out your living space. If you stay indoors for long periods without letting in fresh air, smells can build up, making the whole room feel stuffy. Try to open your windows twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, for about 10 minutes each time. Even if it's chilly outside, this simple habit can make a big difference. Bathrooms and kitchens tend to build up smells faster, so you may want to ventilate those rooms a little extra. Placing a small dish of baking soda in your bathroom can also help absorb unwanted odors. Fred Taylor, 71, used to avoid opening his windows because he hated the cold. I rarely opened them, and the air in my house felt stale, he admitted. Then my doctor told me to do it twice a day, even for just a few minutes. At first it felt annoying, but now the air in my house feels fresher, and my daughter-in-law doesn't fling the windows open the moment she steps inside anymore. By making these simple changes, washing your clothes and bedding regularly, caring for your shoes, and keeping your space well ventilated, you'll not only reduce body odor, but also create a fresher, more pleasant environment for yourself and the people around you. It's all about building small, manageable habits that add up to a big difference over time. Let's break things down in simple terms. The smell that sometimes develops as we age isn't just random. It has specific causes. It can come from a mix of factors, including changes in our sweat, the buildup of oil on our skin, called sebum, turning into a substance called non-enal, dry mouths that lead to bad breath, eating the wrong kinds of foods, not drinking enough water, and skipping proper care for clothes and bedding. The good news? There are easy, affordable ways to tackle this issue, and it doesn't require expensive products or complicated routines. Just a few small changes can make a huge difference. One of the easiest fixes is to stay hydrated. Aim to drink at least 6 cups of the warm water throughout the day. It helps flush out toxins and keeps your body feeling fresher from the inside out. Also, try to get outside for a 20-minute walk in mild sunlight, either in the morning or late afternoon when the sun isn't too harsh. Walking helps you sweat out toxins, and sunlight naturally kills bacteria on your skin. When it comes to hygiene, focus on scrubbing 3 important areas when you shower. These are spots where sweat, oil, and bacteria tend to build up. Skin folds, like your armpits and behind your knees, hairy areas, like your scalp and chest, and sweaty parts, like your feet and between your toes. Use warm water and a gentle cloth or loofah, and make sure to scrub thoroughly but gently. Eating the right foods also plays a big role. Add more antioxidant-rich foods to your diet, like garlic, tomatoes, apples, and berries. These help slow down aging on the inside and can reduce odor over time. Margaret Evans, who's 62, noticed a big change after making these small adjustments. "I started eating an apple and a tomato every day," she shared. "After a few months, my grandkid cuddled up to me again during TV time, and it was the best feeling." Taking care of your mouth is just as important. Brushing your teeth 3 times a day helps, but don't forget to scrape your tongue, too, since that's where a lot of bacteria hide. You can use a tongue scraper, which is a simple, inexpensive tool that makes a big difference. If your mouth feels dry, try chewing sugar-free gum with xylitol, which boosts saliva and keeps your breath fresher. Don't overlook your clothes and bedding either. It's essential to swap your clothes and underwear daily and wash your bedding at least once a week. Pillowcases should be changed even more often because they absorb oil from your hair and skin. Whenever possible, dry your laundry in the sun, since sunlight is a natural odor killer. Robert Taylor, who's 70, learned this the hard way. "I used to wear my clothes for a few days before washing them," he admitted. "Now I swap them daily and wash my sheets every week, and my room smells a lot better." Lastly, don't forget to air out your living space. Stale air can trap odors, so open your windows for 10 minutes in the morning and again at night to let fresh air in. It might seem like a small thing, but it can make your whole house feel fresher. All of these tips are simple, affordable, and easy to add to your daily routine. They're not just about cutting down on odor, they're about boosting your overall health and confidence. When you feel clean, fresh, and healthy, it changes how you interact with the people around you. Margaret Adams, 62, summed it up beautifully. "I followed these tips for 6 months, and now my grandkid sits on my lap for TV time, gives me hugs, and even plants little kisses on my cheek. I can't thank Dr. Henry enough for helping me get that joy back." You can experience that same confidence and connection too. It all starts with small daily habits. So, why not begin today? If you found these tips helpful, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this advice with anyone who might benefit from it. I'll keep sharing practical, life-changing tips to help you live your best life. Thanks so much for watching. Before you go, let me know. What's one tip you're planning to start using right away? Is it drinking more water, scrubbing key areas, airing out your room? Whatever it is, drop your answer in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you're making these tips part of your daily life. See you in the next video, and take care.